As of January 31st, Texas withdrew from the federal Refugee Resettlement Program. The program helps new residents maximize their potential in the United States by connecting them to vital resources that assist them in becoming integrated members of American society. On September 21st, 2016, the state of Texas sent a message to the Office of Refugee Resettlement notifying them of its intention to withdraw from the program because they did not approve of the updated refugee plan. The updated plan on Governor Greg Abbott's statement page said it would require national security officials to ensure that refugees do not pose a security threat to Texas. So let's take a look at the refugee processing and screening system, which takes around 18 to 24 months, sometimes even longer. According to the U.S. Department of State's Refugee Admissions Program, the first step is registration and data collection. Refugees in need of guidance and protection apply for refugee resettlement. Generally, refugees are referred by the UN Refugee Agency, which collects documentation and biographical information. The information is passed on to a Department of State-funded Resettlement Support Center, also known as the RSC. The RSC administers an in-depth interview with the applicant, registers the applicant's documentation into the Department of State Worldwide Refugee Admission Processing System, often referred to as RAPS, cross-references and confirms the data, then forwards the information required to manage a background check to other U.S. agencies. Step 2. Security checks. U.S. national security agencies like the National Counterterrorism Center, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, and Department of State, in addition to the intelligence community, start screening the applicant using the information sent from the Resettlement Support Center. The screening checks for security threats. This includes relationships and connections to known harmful people and former immigration or criminal violations. For Syrian applicants, the Department of Homeland Security conducts additional enhanced reviews. Refugees are screened more carefully than any other individual entering the U.S. Step 3. Department of Homeland Security interview. Security screenings from each agency are sent back to the DHS and the State Department. Specifically, educated DHS officers examine initial screening results, conduct in-person interviews, and gather biometric data from the applicant. The DHS examination process verifies the information collected from the previous interviews held by the State Department Resettlement Support Center. Additional interviews are conducted as new information comes to light. With each interview, data is confirmed in person and in RAPS. If new information comes out during interviews, the information is entered into RAPS and extra security checks are conducted. If inconsistencies emerge at any point, the case is postponed until the inconsistencies are straightened out. Once all interviews and checks are finalized, the DHS determines the case. The decision then enters RAPS and the process continues. Step 4. Biometric security checks. Fingerprints accumulated by U.S. government employees are stored in a DHS database and screened against the FBI biometric database, the DHS biometric database, which includes watch list information and previous immigration encounters in the U.S. and overseas, and the U.S. Department of Defense database. This includes fingerprints obtained around the world. These fingerprint screening results are examined by the Department of Homeland Security. Cases with any troublesome results are denied. Otherwise, the screening process continues. Step 5. Cultural orientation and medical check. For cultural orientation, applicants complete a class intended to educate them about American culture, customs, and practices. For the medical check, all refugees authorized by DHS go through a medical screening to see if they have any diseases of public health significance. The results of the medical examination are also entered into RAPS. If the applicant is given the OK after the medical check, the process continues. Step 6. Assignment to domestic resettlement locations and travel. Each week, officials from each 9 domestic resettlement agencies meet and evaluate applicant information passed on from the Resettlement Support Center via RAPS to decide where to resettle each refugee. Once these placement decisions are made, the placement is entered into RAPS and the refugee is informed on where their new home is. The International Organization for Migration makes the travel arrangements for the refugees. Before entering the U.S., applicants are put through another screening from U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Transportation Security Administration's Secure Flight Program. Applicants with no security concerns carry on with their travel. Step 7. Arrival in the U.S. Applicants finally arrive in the United States, where representatives from 9 domestic resettlement agencies welcome refugees at the airport and begin the process of helping them settle into their new homes.